everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun. Might choke up a little bit, still dealing with some stuff. But today I'm here to review The Mandalorian Season 3. Sorry. Sorry. Got mixed up for a second there. I'm here to review the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 5, which should just be this episode, no bullshit, the entire episode, spoiler alert, is around Mando. Mando is back. This entire episode is essentially Mandalorian Season 3 episode Chapter 1. Essentially. Because it picks up, it doesn't look like it's been that long. Like, it's been some time, but it doesn't look like it's been that long since the events of Mandalorian Season 2. And I spent so much time, and I haven't made any videos talking about this. You know me, I'm more of a Marvel guy. When I start getting into theories, it's usually in the Marvel territory because I can get into my bag and start getting into my knowledge of Marvel. And I'm not as knowledgeable about Star Wars, so I can't really, make any true theories about Star Wars because I'm not as knowledgeable about Star Wars. It's the same thing with something DC. I'm not as knowledgeable, so I can't really make any theories because I don't really know. But I thought about, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, is he gonna go off with Bo and try to take over Mandalore? What's gonna happen? Like, what is he doing? Now that Grogu isn't there, aka Baby Yoda, what is Mando doing? And I figured, I'm thinking in my mind, there were many options. But an option that, never even occurred to me, ironically, was he just go back to bounty hunting. And that's basically what he did. Well, really, he didn't, I suppose he didn't go back to bounty hunting. He went out to look for the weaponsmith, the leader of his old coven. Because she survived the events of Mandalorian Season 1. And we know she survived. She whooped the shit out of those stormtroopers. But we didn't know where she went. And it was shocking to me, and I'm sure many others, that she didn't show up at all in Season 2. I thought that, it's funny, because I thought the events that happened in this episode were going to happen at the beginning of Season 2, but it didn't happen. But you get the return of so many characters. You get, including Jon Favreau's, I can't remember his character's name, but the big Mandalorian. He survived. And, turns out Mando is, the whole episode, well, the first 20 minutes of the episode, because it's a long episode. It's about, sorry, still dealing with some shit. Whenever I get to talking, sometimes my throat. Anyway, but it's about a 51-minute episode, and about 40, and so it's about a 40. So really, it's about a 40-minute. It's about a 48-minute episode, and half of the episode is dedicated to Mando trying to find his old coven, trying to find this weaponsmith, so that he can get back with them and he can reunite and they can build a new coven. And that's what he's dedicated to. He's like, all right, I'm gonna just go back go back to doing what I used to do. That's my plan. But in the process, there was a great opening sequence where Mando is as we turns out, he was sent to get this dude, where Mando goes into this almost like this meat locker kind of a place, and old school Mando. I'll bring you in hot, warm, I'll bring you in cold. Fight breaks out. And he uses the Darksaber. Now, it is clear that he doesn't know what he's doing with this thing. That he's swinging it around. He's chopping these dudes in half and shit, by the way. He's pretty brutal with it. You can get, like I say, you can push PG-13, especially when it comes to non-humanoid creatures. I've already said my piece up. I already said that in Moon Knight, that's how they're going to push the PG-13 rating, is by making him fight, is by at least saving the most brutal sequences for the non-human characters, because that's how you can get away with doing some really brutal stuff, decapitation and things. And this show, this show pretty much proved the point. Is it's pretty brutal how he dispatches them with that lightsaber, but it's pretty clear that he doesn't quite know what he's doing. He injures himself, because he doesn't know what he's doing. He ends up hitting himself on the side of the leg because he doesn't know what he's doing with that thing. Sure, he has a concept of how to use a blade, but using a lightsaber is just a different beast. Using the Darksaber is even more of a different beast. As we discover once he finds the fucking, arms, what do we call her? Armsmith or whatever. Once he finds her, it turns out that the Darksaber responds to you, which I have heard in Star Wars lore that the Darksaber is a unique saber because it responds to you. Like, it can grow, it can shrink, and apparently, if you have doubt, it can get heavy. Because the way Mando's saying it is it gets heavier with every swing. And she's pretty much saying it's because you aren't here. Your mind is thinking about Grogu. Your mind is thinking about him and how he's doing. And that's another thing, too, that they really get over is, like, how he's thinking of Grogu. Honestly, they really get over how willing he is to bend on things now. Because not only in the beginning of Mandalorian, the first season, his whole line about guns are my religion, and he would never give his weapons up, he gives his weapons up to get on the ship. And he accepts help from a friend. In fact, he says he wants. In fact, what's her face? The chick who fixed up his ship. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. She shows back up. The wacky curly hair chick. She shows back up, and she told him that she would get him another Razor Crest. I'm thinking, ooh, we're gonna get another Razor Crest. But then she brings him another ship he didn't ask for. And instead of at first he was making a hoe about it, but he gave her a chance to prove him wrong. He's made decisions like in this just one episode that just shows the growth of that character. But unfortunately, the commitment of the Kree means something. And not removing his helmet and whatnot, he could not. You remember in season 1 where at a certain point she asks him, have you had your helmet removed or have you ever removed your helmet in front of others? And you say, no. And then this is the way. Mando couldn't say no because he had. Which meant that, and she said, you're not a Mandalorian anymore. And the look on it, the expression, you didn't even see underneath his helmet. But the way, Pedro Pascal, voiced it, was he was like, no, this is all I know. I can't, what do I have to do? And she's like, well, the only way you can cleanse yourself is if you go to the mines of Mandalore. Which means he has to go all the way out to Mandalore and go to some mines that he said himself have been destroyed. So it's So I couldn't tell if they were saying there that he can't be this kind of Mandalorian anymore in good faith. So that's it. Or were they saying, are they saying he's gonna go to there because he's gonna go there? I'm not quite sure. Either way, it does feel like, and it felt like that in season 2, they are leaning towards having him be more like a normal quote unquote normal Mandalorian. Also, we discovered the reason why his sect of Mandalorians managed to survive the events of Mandalore being carpet bombed by the Empire, basically carpet bombed into fucking hell, is because they weren't on Mandalore when it went down. They were on the moon. So that's how they survived the events that happened that ended up fucking Mandalore. Which is why they believe so strongly that their way is the right way, because in their mind, they're like, well, we believed in the old Mandalorian ways, and we survived, while the rest of the other Mandalorians were basically wiped out and scattered across, were basically wiped out. So that's kind of so that's why they believe so much more in their religion. And you really just, hopefully we get more into this in Mandalorian season 3. That there's so many Mandalorians who have so many different interpretations of what it means to be a Mandalorian. Just like so many different people have interpretations of what it means to be an African American or what it means to be an American. There's so many people who have a different interpretation, and it's going to be fun to get into that in Mandalorian Season 3. Some really great action up top, like I said. Some really fun, more lore build, and just great to be with Mando again in his mannerisms and whatnot. And some really great CGI and piloting sequences. At a certain point, Mando does get a new ship. It's a starfighter, though. It's not like the Razor Crest. It's not that big of a ship. It's, which a part of me likes his new ship, and a part of me misses the Razor Crest, because the Razor Crest, in my opinion, just my personal opinion, when I think of a spaceship, if I can't sleep in it, if I don't I think of the Milano, I think of the Millennium Falcon, I think of even Slave 1, aka I know they changed it to something like Fire Spray or something. Even Slave 1, you can sit in, He doesn't, like, there's some place you can go. You know, when I think of a spaceship, whereas the new ship he has, it's a starfighter and it's super fast. You know, to its credit, Mando has a get away from the cops fucking speed ship now. That thing is a burner. You ain't fucking with Mando in that thing. You're not catching him. I suspect, just like a TIE fighter, it probably doesn't take much to take that ship out, which something that Mando's gonna have to get used to, because the Razor Crest could take a beating, as we've seen. It could take a beating and just keep on going, which is a great representation of Mando himself. But to me, I need a ship. If I was in a world, if I was making my own sci-fi, I need a ship that I can at least like the Milano, that I can have a bed on. You know what I mean? That like I can sleep on. Like I don't have to like worry about it. Like Mando in the world, he literally can just go out and he can just sleep. All my stuff's down here, all my gear. But when you have a ship that's that tiny, it kind of limits, like, you can't do but so much. Like, that means he has to have some other, like, place to go to keep his equipment and shit. And, like, that's the problem I have, and it's why I miss the Razor Crest. And, I don't know. I hope it comes back. I like the Razor Crest, especially there's some sequences in Season 2 where, the engines and gears and stuff start going, and that shit just looks awesome to me. Like I said, I like his new ship, fast as hell, cool ass sequence, great CGI, man. Like, movie level CGI. Like, but there's been movie level CGI in The Mandalorian anyways. It's why it's been like one of my favorite shows of all time. It's just I never there's Game of Thrones and then there's Mandalorian in terms of special effects that are just movie quality. You're just like, this is a movie. I mean, there's some sequences in some of the Marvel MCU shows, of course, the first action sequence with Falcon at the beginning of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's a movie sequence. Fuck what you heard. That is a straight up movie sequence. I was like, whoa, and I got to watch that shit for free. Okay, not for free, for like $8.99, but for $8.99 I got that shit. There's clearly the sequences in Hawkeye. The car sequence in Hawkeye, that's a movie sequence. There's a couple sequences in Loki. The whole thing with the Giants cloud thing in Loki, that's a movie. Like, there have been things, but no other show has consistently had movie. Okay, there are HBO shows that are movie quality in terms of the way they're shot and the way they're acted and the way they look. They look like movies. But there's never been anything that looks like a big budget film CGI level of the quality of The Mandalorian. Like, there's so many shows, even on like Amazon and whatnot, fantasy shows and sci-fi shows, that while there are good shows, the special effects aren't all, like, they're not terrible, but they're not like mind-blowing. Like, for instance, I dug the show Raised by Wolves. I didn't review it. Maybe I should, but I dug the show. But the special effects weren't like groundbreaking or anything. They weren't like movie quality. But The Mandalorian and most of, not all of, but most of the Book of Boba Fett have been movie quality, which is why I'm just like, man, I hope Disney puts this kind of effort into some of their shows. And so all of if Disney put this kind of effort into all of their shows, which I don't know why they don't. Like I said, I complained about this the other day. Disney should be like, they don't have a lot of content on there, outside of certain other things. So I don't know why some of their original shows, they're not putting more money into it. They need to put more money into it. Like, the Mighty Ducks should look like a movie. You know what I mean? But I digress. This episode was by far the best episode. Is it a bit concerning that it was the best episode and it was all focused on Mando? Maybe. And once again, just like last week was like, Hype City Mando's gonna show up. Next week, we might see Grogu again, because Mando's apparently gonna go and give Grogu a Beskar gift. He's gonna go find him somewhere, which means we might get a Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker next week. Who the fuck knows? But I tell you one thing, I am hyped. This episode gets the first Boba Fett 10 out of 10. I don't know what it means that the first episode I gave a 10 out of 10 was all around Mando, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, Finnick does show up at the end and tell him, hey, we need you. Can you help us out? And he basically says, I owe you guys one anyways. I got your back. I'll be there for you. I got to go take care of something right quick. But when I'm done with that, I got you. So We're going to see Boba and Mando side by side again. That's going to be fun. Anyways, thank you guys again. I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.